Donald Trump's election win has been welcomed enthusiastically in Turkey. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan calls Trump a friend and says he hopes the Trump administration can help end the conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East. Relations between Erdogan and President Joe Biden have been cool, and Erdogan may be hoping for a return of that personal chemistry which marked the first Trump presidency. But as Yulia Han reports from Turkey, things might not go as smoothly as Erdogan hopes.
Donald Trump once declared that he was a big fan of Turkey's Recep Tayyip Erdogan.
The president and I we've been very good friends. We've been friends for a long time, almost from day one.
But last time he was in office, Trump also threatened to destroy the Turkish economy.
And are you concerned that Erdogan will try to wipe out the Kurds?
I will wipe out his economy if that happens. I've already done it once.
How was he able to maintain cordial ties with Erdogan despite comments like these? And what does Trump's return to the White House mean for Turkey-US ties?
For President Erdogan, this is a big victory as well. The chemistry between the two men is pretty much based on being fellow strongmen, a shared worldview based on power, based on the demonization of their enemies.
Erdogan congratulated his friend Trump and said he hoped for a new period in Turkish-American relations. Some people here in Istanbul were not quite as excited.
I think Trump won't do anything for Turkey, but it would be good if he at least stops the war, especially in the Middle East.
Trump? He's a savage, a barbarian. I mean, he's a bully. We really don't need people like that.
I think Trump will have closer relations with Erdogan because Biden's door was closed. With Trump, they will at least be able to talk.
President of the Republic of Turkey.
While the outgoing Biden administration has seemingly kept the Turkish president at arm's length, Trump had fairly frequent meetings and phone calls with Erdogan during his 2017 to 2021 presidency. But a close personal relationship might not be enough to smooth over long-standing disagreements between the two NATO allies.
There are structural problems in the bilateral relationship that won't just go away because of change of leadership in the United States.
We're about to enter a turbulent period in Turkish-American relations. Make no mistake, this will not be an easy time in Turkish-American relations.
Here are some of the main sticking points. Turkey's removal from the F-35 fighter jet program due to its purchase of a Russian-made air defense system. US military support to Kurdish groups in Syria, which Ankara considers an extension of the PKK, a designated terrorist group. Erdogan's continued friendly relations with Russia following the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine and his refusal to join Western sanctions have also angered the Biden administration.
Trump is very likely to push Ukraine to a ceasefire on Moscow's terms. Of course, this brings a lot of questions and risks for everyone.
I see Ukraine and Russia as actually something that can improve Turkish-American relations under a Trump administration. There will have to be negotiations between Ukraine and Russia as well. And there is a strong chance Erdogan would be willing to play the mediator.
In the Middle East, Washington and Ankara have backed opposing sides in the Gaza war.
Trump is very likely to increase his support to Israel and particularly to the Saudi Arabia-Israeli axis against Iran. That might also trigger a regional-wide conflict, which would have very significant spillover effects on Turkey. So that's another risk.
Disagreements between Turkey and the US are likely to endure, no matter how much presidential chemistry there might be.
Let's get across to Istanbul and bring in our correspondent Dorian Jones for more on this. Dorian, US-Turkish relations, they've been relatively strained under the Biden presidency. Is there a sense there that this is about to change?
I think that Ankara is ecstatic over the victory of President Trump. President Erdogan was very quick to congratulate Trump, describing him as a friend. Speaking to a foreign policy advisor to Erdogan, they said the magic word is chemistry. They believe that these two men, Trump and Erdogan, share much in common. They're both charismatic leaders. Then they both are men that believe that they can make deals. And on top of that, they are both having a sense of unpredictability. So I think there's a sense that with Trump, there will be a new chapter in Turkish-US relations. And why they are so optimistic is under the previous Trump administration, Erdogan met Trump 9 times face-to-face, including a state visit to Washington. And they were regular communications, particularly on a Sunday, between the two leaders. Compare that to the present Biden administration. Erdogan has only met Biden twice on the sidelines of international summits, and the relations were very much confined to a foreign policy level. That didn't suit Erdogan. Erdogan very much likes FaceTime between leaders, particularly world powers, and Erdogan believes with FaceTime he can iron out any difficulties. Although it has to be said, speaking to circles within Erdogan, there is also a sense of concern too, because they are aware under the previous Trump administration, Trump trashed the Turkish economy, plunging the currency lira into record falls over differences, and in a notorious tweet, Erdogan threatened again to destroy the Turkish economy if his demands weren't met. So there is a sense of risk with the Trump administration, but very much though Ankara is focusing on the positive. They see this as a major opportunity, but there's also an awareness that it comes big risks as well.
As you say, beyond the optics and the chemistry, there are areas where they may not be as aligned, or perhaps they are. Tell us a little bit more. I'm curious specifically what a Trump administration will mean for American backing for Kurds in Syria, as we heard something that Turkey opposes.
Absolutely. This is an issue that has poisoned US-Turkish relations. Ankara accuses this Kurdish group that the US have been supporting in its war against the Islamic State of being affiliated with the PKK, which is a terrorist organization that's been fighting the Turkish state for decades. And Ankara said that support from a NATO ally is simply unacceptable. And the reason they're looking more positively with Trump, that under the previous Trump administration, Erdogan managed to succeed in persuading Trump to withdraw those US forces. But subsequently, Trump stepped back and only reduced the number of the US forces. Now Ankara believes that the stars are aligning for a full pullout, given the fact that Washington has reached an agreement with Iraq to withdraw all its forces from Iraq, and Iraq is the major supply route for US forces into Syria. When the US pull out, those forces are seen to be very much isolated. So Erdogan sees this opportunity now with a Trump administration of reaching some kind of deal for the pullout of those US forces. Now, it has to be said there will be expected to be some pushback in Washington. Any US pullout from that region would leave a vacuum, many people warn, and that would open the door to possible Iranian-backed militias seizing control of that area. So that will be a controversial decision, but Erdogan very much believes that he can reach a deal over this, although many point out that Trump will be looking for something in exchange. What that will be and what Turkey can offer remains to be seen.
And another foreign policy issue that will be watched incredibly closely is the Ukraine war, of course. What do you think Ankara is going to be looking for in that conflict?
Again here, I mean, Erdogan is looking very positively towards the Trump administration. They are very pleased about the signs and indication that Trump said he really wants to end this conflict. Erdogan has for many years been pressing for some sort of solution. He has good ties with the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, and his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky. And Erdogan has been trying to broker a solution. He believes that with Trump, that possibly that solution can be reached. The Ukraine-Russian war has very much weakened the Turkish economy, and the fear is a further escalation of that conflict will bring more instability for Turkey. So they're very keen for some kind of solution. They also see Erdogan as a possible peace dividend. Any peace solution there would open the door. Ankara is hoping for major reconstruction contracts for Turkish companies. And also I think Erdogan will very much want to play some kind of role in any brokering of peace. Given his close ties with both sides, he'll be looking to work with Trump, possibly having a position at the high table, facilitating some kinds of talks. And that very much will play very well with Erdogan supporters, who are very keen to see Erdogan as sitting again at the high table with world leaders, and brokering some kind of peace solution would certainly buoy his ratings in the country as well. So Erdogan is looking very positively to some kind of solution to the Ukraine-Russia war.
Well, thank you so much for that. That is our correspondent Dorian Jones reporting from Istanbul.